Hi everybody, how are you? Today we are going to talk about literature. ما ينفعش أكون بدرس literature أو doing any critical analysis for any story or trying to understand any story without understanding what is literature. خلينا كده نفكر مع بعض. كمان literature is not only for reading stories. Literature is a way of open your mind. It helps you to visualize and understand lots of things because you're experiencing the life of other characters through reading. reading يا ولاد جميل قوي قوي، بيخلينا نشوف ونعيش حاجات كتير حلوة تزود الخبرة بتاعتنا في الحياة، لأن احنا بنشوف شخصيات مختلفة ممكن هنقابلهم في الواقع in our real life وممكن مش هنقابلهم، بس we already got the experience through reading. We have seen their lives, we have seen others' lives. احنا مش عايشينها، شفنا حياة جديدة. we are not experiencing it and we felt their feelings, we felt we have seen their lives. Okay. طيب literature simply is the form of work of art, is a form of a work of art. طيب يعني ايه a form of a work of art؟ يعني it means novel, short stories, poems, all of these are different kinds of literature. Okay. طيب what's a prose? What is a poem? What is a novel? Prose is a written work, it's not a song. Especially novels is a kind of prose. Even any novel, any short story is a prose, is called a prose. Prose written work of art, not a poem. It is not rhyming like poems. Okay. So any novel is a work of art, is a prose. Why do we read literature? Why do we study literature? Do you think why do you read literature? Why do we study literature? As I told you that every writer is having a message. The writer have a message and he is trying to convey it to the people or to the reader who is going to read his story. And this message he is trying to convey it because he wants a change. He have seen something wrong in the life of the people in the society, and he's trying to change something in their lives or in the country where he is living. So yeah, I have a literature, so I have a message for change and reform. I have a message. I need change. I need to reform. To reform means to fix, to reform, to fix, to change the defects that is already in the society, that was realized by the writer of the story or the writer of the poet. He is telling us his thoughts through a work of art. To make a critical analysis, you have to check some important things in the story. You have to understand, first of all, the title of the story. Most of the time, this title is very significant. The novel should have a title, it should have a name, which always and most of the time attracts the reader to read the book or the lines of the writer to know his message. And mainly the title is having the whole idea of the book. هو اللي في كل الفكرة بتاعت الكتاب that attracts اللي بتجذب اللي بتشد الريدر to read, to know more what this writer wants to tell his reader. In addition to the title of the story, any story should have a setting. It should have a setting. Where? Setting means simply where this story takes place. Where will it happen? Is it happening in a school, home, street, country, city? Why setting important? Because it conveys the way of life. Each country, each city has its own way of life. I'm always, after ending each sentence, I put a full stop. Question, I put a question mark. Punctuation, always remember punctuation while writing. The way of life that the people or the characters in the novel are living in. So through sitting, I will understand the way of living. If he's talking about people in the countryside, means simple life. City means luxury. Okay, now I've checked the setting of the story. I've checked how these people are living. Are they living in an artificial life, in a simple way of life? Now I have to be introduced to the characters. The characters who will be in this story. Okay, who are my characters? Who are the victims or the heroes of the story? Are they victimized? Are they dealing or having a happy life? Who are suffering? Who are the dictators? Who are the people that are the main reason of the suffering of most of the characters or the victims, and so on? And how to change this? How to help these characters to be away from this? Now, the most important thing that leads me to the characters in the setting is plot. Plot? Yes, what's plot? It's the most important part of any story. Even if you are writing a story, you have to have setting, you have to have characters, you have to have a plot. It is the events. It's everything that is happening. It's what the story is about. And the tone, either sad tone or sarcastic tone, is making fun. Sarcastic means that the writer is making fun of the characters. Like in a story that was called Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. Waiting for Godot, it was a tragic comedy. His conveying or characterizing his characters in a tragic comedy in a way to show how helpless people were at the time when the story was written. We were having Vladimir and Stragon, two characters who were waiting for the arrival for someone to help them. For someone, this one was called Godot, and Godot was who never come or appear. They kept waiting. There was lots of conversation between them, waiting for this Godot, but he didn't arrive at all. The play opens on an outdoor scene. It was philosophical. Vladimir appeared to the audience as knowing everything in the world. He has the knowledge of reality and existence. And he was weary, showing extreme tiredness, waiting for Godot. Okay, the other character, Stragon, cannot remove his boots from his aching feet. And this showed how helpless this guy is, that he cannot move his boots. He keeps saying, nothing to bet on.
nothing to bid one. He is so helpless, he cannot think of a way out of his problem. He's mindless. Stragon was beaten the night before, and he wasn't able to help himself. He was blaming Godot for not coming to help him. Why don't you think of helping yourself? Both of the two characters cannot agree or where or when they are expected to meet Godot. They only know that they have to wait at a tree, and there is indeed a leafless tree one nearby. And leafless, why the writer made it leafless, means no life. There is no life. There is no hope. Green leaves in literature means hope. There is no hope for these two peoples, for these two people. They appear to know everything. They appear to be understanding everything, but at the same time, they are helpless. They cannot use their knowledge. They cannot use what they feel that they do understand. If they really understand anything, they have understood that there is nothing called Godot. Why I'm telling this story? To show you that the setting in the story, the place, helps the reader a little bit to understand what is happening throughout the atmosphere. The atmosphere of the story, it was gloomy, leafless tree, darkness, no light, no hope, no gleams of hope. The beginning of the novel or the work of art always introduces the character to the people in this work of art. And we are always having the problem that happen or the crisis that happens that would lead to a change. Always problems. Is the beginning of a change. It's beginning of a change. The problem happens, and mainly it's the reason of a change in the lives of these characters, either for better or maybe it's the ending if they were so evil. And the end or the conclusion of this story is the solution of this problem that lead them to a way out, and it could open an ending. And most of the writer leaves the reader to imagine what could happen to these characters. This is mainly a very quick explanation of what is literature, what's meaning of characters, what's the importance of setting. Why should I think about the setting of the story while I am reading? Why should I think about every detail in the character, in the way of dressing, in the way of talking, in the way of eating, in the way of looking, everything? Because every tiny thing in the character or in the setting or in the events, all in the whole in the plot, leads to or steps to the main message of the writer, that he wants you to know it because he wants to reform something, he wants a change. If you like the video, if you feel that you really understood something, please write your questions to me in the comments, and I'm waiting for your like, for your share, best wishes, and wait for the other videos if I'll find any likes from you. Thank you and bye bye.